जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांगगंधा विकगिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शतर शत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शतर शत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शतर शत स्मर भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शत स्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभगवत श्री गोक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विश्व शुद्ध सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास गुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मन देवी कुंड देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। श्री हरिनाम चिंतामणि की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। हरि नाम प्रभु की जय। जय श्री हरि नाम महामंत्र की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गौर। Do Mangalacharan and then begin. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्रीसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति विदितो गौडीय गौरवन्वये भातो भानुरिव प्रभात गगने योगोरसंकीर्तनाय मायावारतिमिङ्गिलोदरगतान् उद्धृत्य जीवानिमान् कृष्ण प्रेम सुधाब्दिगाहन सुखां प्रादात् प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्तिविनोदं श्रीगौरशक्तिस्वरूपकं भक्तिशास्त्रज्ञसम्राजं राधारससुधानिधिं। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वृषभानुसुतान्वितवामतनुं यमुनातटनागरनन्दसुतं मुरलीकलगीतविनोदपरं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुम्। स्मर गौरगदाधर केलिकलं Bhava Gora Gadadhara Pakshachara Shrinu Gora Gadadhara Charukatang Bhaja Godrumakanana Punjavidum Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvam Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptastakama Dittaranga Madhe Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Sarveshwari Mataji, it's been a while since I've seen you. Hare Bol. Great to see you again. And Nitai Mukeshji, Hare Krishna. And let's see on YouTube and Facebook. Raseshwari Mataji. Oh, wow. I'm very glad to hear that. Raseshwari Mataji said, Haribol, these readings have improved the quality of my sadhana. Grateful. I'm also so grateful. I've never read, this is my first time ever reading Harināma-cintāmaṇi, and so many new things. Something that really, that was really helpful for me. That chapter on inattentive chanting, I think it was chapter 13. That one, that one was one of the most helpful things I've read in a very long time. So many practical instructions for especially the one that really stuck out for me that really was just the simple thing of first chanting for 30 minutes. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says first you should just chant like you should endeavor jatna kore, like with care and attention and with great endeavor you should chant for first for 30 minutes, and then naturally at first the 30 minutes will be really difficult to really focus and just try to not, and he even suggested he gave two suggestions, right? Like when you can the best is to be in a holy place in the company of sadhus and in front of a tulsi plant. Otherwise, you can also, he gives another, you could go into a room where there are no people, no distractions, no nothing. And he said, and you can even cover your eyes and chant so that your senses have nothing to get distracted by. And then to endeavor to chant for 30 minutes with everything, like give your best effort to chant for 30 minutes without distraction. And then naturally, it will slowly increase. It'll become easier and easier. And eventually, you'll make it to an hour chanting like that. And then with practice and practice and practice, eventually you'll make it to 2 hours where you can chant with a fully focused mind. And then, um, and then gradually you'll naturally increase to 64 rounds, and eventually you'll make it to 3 lakhs, 192 rounds. But it's a gradual process, and we shouldn't artificially try to increase. We should just keep on chanting and chanting, and then once it becomes easy and natural, and you feel a desire to increase a little bit, then you like that. But if you just like make a plan, like okay, every week I'm gonna increase 1 round or something like that, like that's it should be natural. And I thought it was so interesting that first he focused on time and then the numbers, because um, he mentioned I think he mentioned it as an offense to try to just get a certain number of rounds done. Like, okay, I got to get the numbers in instead of Hare Krishna, and just like pulling it down and finally done. You know what I mean? Like that's actually an offense to Harinam. And so um yeah, that was some, I've never really heard it explained like that before, and it makes total sense. And I really that's something I really need to work on, is not just trying to get the numbers finished, And so I think in the beginning for me, it's more important. Of course, I have to get the number of rounds that, Srila Gurudev, said, I have to chant 16 rounds a day. But I want to, I want to like try to put more emphasis on the time I spend chanting and not worry about how many rounds I finish in that time. For me, what I'm trying to do is just at least just 30 minutes of I didn't do it yesterday, but anyways, but just 30 minutes of effort with Harināma, and then the rest of the time I'll just like get the rounds done. But at least I'll put some time where I actually try to make an endeavor. Um, yeah, and I'm just starting really small, but I really feel like I'm beginning from the beginning, like really beginning from the beginning. Um, but anyhow, I don't think it matters where we're beginning from, this as long as we're always making progress and never going backwards. So, all right. So, yeah, this is our last reading of Harināma-cintāmaṇi. The chapter that we read, yeah, what we were reading yesterday was, it actually felt like, oh my God, am I supposed to be reading this? But I mean, we made it to the end, and but yeah, very high topics. And although, yeah, I feel like ridiculously unqualified to be reading it, it's still we're I think it's just the way I'm looking at it is this is encouragement for us to know what we have in store for us. If we sincerely continue following this practice and we don't make aparad, then this is what is waiting for us. Yeah. And eventually we'll be able to do this type of bhajan. And of course, we always have to have the aim in mind. This is why I'm chanting, so that I can come to this stage. Um, so I can't actually remember where we read up to yesterday. I ended up reading the translations for the rest of the chapter. Where is it? Tags, Harināma-cintāmaṇi, chapter 15. Hmm. Anyways, let's just go to this section. I'm not going to reread way too much, but we'll go to this section. I'll start from here. Actually, no, I'll start from where it begins with, this is Ekadasha Bhav, Sadhan. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to reread this again, even though we've gone through it so many times, but it's just, so he talks about how the name becomes, first one comes to the stage where they realize that the name and the possessor of the name, Nam and Nami, are completely identical. And then it increases in where in a few days one will attain, like, then sitting in a secluded place, one should give up the 10 offenses with the faith that Nam and Nami are one tattva. In a few days, one will attain the mercy of the name, and the form of Sri Shyamasundar will manifest. When the name and form become identical during sadhan, during one's chanting of the name, the form appears in the heart at every moment. One's actually able to directly perceive the form of Krishna. After some days, the Lord's qualities are added along with his form, and one relishes those qualities while remembering Sri Nam. In a few days, the name, form, and qualities become one. And as one chants the name, these three manifest at every moment. Mantra Dhyanamai is worship of the holy name. One should know that this is the first wave of the appearance of the results of one's chanting. And Mantra Maya Upasana is when you focus on just one particular lila. And I think by means of a mantra, I'm guessing. So, there'll be a mantra or like some verse explaining a pastime, and then the practitioner will just focus on this one pastime. and go deeply in remembering in this one pastime. And then at the time of meditation, one is at the yoga pit beneath a desire tree. There, Krishna is seen happily surrounded by gopas and gopis. And this is a very high stage, this mantra, like when one is immersed in mantra dhyanamaya upasana. Immersed in the bliss of bhajan, the devotee experiences joy as all the symptoms of sattvika vikar manifest. And sattvika vikar are perspiration, herpelation, faltering of the voice, shivering, changing of bodily hue, tears, fainting due to devastation, being stunned. All these things are the sattvic vikar. Gradually, as the name's own natural fragrance blossoms. Remember, Nam was compared to a, a blossoming flower. And so, as the name's own natural fragrance blossoms, the eightfold pastimes of Krishna manifest. That's this Ashtakalya Lila. Ashtakala is the 8 different times of the day. And so, different pastimes that Krishna performs throughout the 8 periods of the day become manifest. And then comes Swara Sikhi Upasana, worship through spontaneous meditation. So without need of any external help, not needing a mantra or anything like that, just automatically. And many different pastimes will start to come up automatically, one after another. Krishna in different locations. It's not just one location. Sometimes Radhakund, sometimes Vangsivat, sometimes Dhir Samir, sometimes, and they'll just come automatically, serial, one by one. When Swarasiki Upasana, worship through spontaneous meditation occurs, one attains darshan of Krishna performing pastimes at various places during the day. By the mercy of the Guru, the devotee immediately acquires his Siddha Swarup, his spiritual form, and enters those pastimes, accompanying a Saki. The daughter of Vrishabhanu, Sri Radha, is Mahabhav Swarupini, the personification of Mahabhav, the highest ecstasy. Bhakti, in accordance with her, is always filled with prem. Following the instructions of the Sakis, one engages in service to the divine couple. Thus, those who are experts in relishing ras, the rasiks, they become absorbed in Mahaprem. At this point, one's sadhan bhajan is close to perfection. Then, this is Haridas Thakur speaking to Mahaprabhu. So he says, then, by your mercy, the subtle body is discarded and one achieves Vastu Siddhi. Vastu Siddhi is when one actually, all the subtle bodies, the gross bodies is completely shedded away. One takes birth from the womb of a gopi and starts to fully engage in the lila, not just meditating on their spiritual form, but they're actually physically present within their spiritual form. There's no more material anything. Words cannot extend beyond this. Whatever is beyond this can only be experienced by the power of mercy. This is the supreme sadhan that leads to Ujjvala Ras, by which one attains the treasure of Krishna Prem. In order to achieve Ujjvala Ras, there are 11 aspects, the Ekadash Bhav. And so these 11 aspects are our sambandha, our relationship, our vayasa, our age, nam, their name, rup, your form, connection with a particular group, yuta, your dress, vesh, your orders, agyavas, what is the orders that are given to you by the Saki, your seva, your particular service, and one's highest aspiration, parakashta, and the mood as a dependent maidservant, nurtured, sheltered maidservant, palya dasi bhav. So these are the ekadash bhav. And there's a song that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote. Where is it? This is just to give an example of ekadash bhav. Where is it? It is here. It's called Varanitarit. So this will be in the songbook eventually. It's in Siddhi Lalasa. This is just giving an example. Right here, this song here. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Varane tare vasa taravali kamala manjari nam. Sare baro varsha vayasa satata swananda sukha dhama. He says, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my complexion is like lightning. My dress is covered with stars. And my name is Kamala Manjari. My eternal age is 12.5 years. And my abode is Swananda Sukara Kunj. So that went through his age, name, form, and residence, and dress. And now let's see what's... My service is preparing camphor in the group of Lalita Saki. So there is his seva, his service, and his group. Which group he's in? He's in the group of Lalita, of which Sri Radha is the leader. He's in the group of Lalita in which Sri Radha is the leader. My mistress's lord is Sri Nandanandan, the treasure of my life. I wonder if that's... I don't know what Parakashta means. Anyways, and then I long to render the same services as Sri Rupa Manjari and her associates. I will surely attain that service. So that's the service. This is my highest aspiration. I have firm conviction in that. Guess that's the Parakashta, the highest aspiration, right? Yep, see, it says Parakashta right here. When will this maidservant attain complete perfection, living by Radha Kund and constantly serving Shri Shri Radha Krishna, having forgotten all past memories? So that's an example. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Ekadash Bhav, he reveals that in that song. Okay. So now, the complete sadhan of Ekadash Bhav must progress through 5 specific stages in the life of a sadhak. So now here's the sadhan. This is Bhav sadhan. So the Bhav sadhan is Shravan, Varan, Smaran, Apan, and Sampatti. That's first one hears, then one accepts, then one remembers, and then one achieves. And then there's full possession. Or the full treasure. One attains the full treasure. Sampatti means treasure, right? So these are considered to be the 5 stages. And now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur will explain these in more detail. So that Mahajan, Sri Gurudev, who is on this path of Bhav, is superior to oneself, and he or she is overwhelmed with pure divine sentiments. He's Shuddha Bhavuk. By hearing Bhav Tattva, the principle of Bhav, from his divine mouth, the stage of Shravan Dasha manifests. And so by hearing Bhav Tattva, the principles of Bhav from his mouth, what is Bhav Tattva? One must consider that there are 2 aspects to Bhav Tattva. There's one's own Ekadash Bhav and also Krishna's Leela. So one will hear from Sri Guru these 11 bhavs, the Ekadash Bhav, from the lips of Sri Guru, and he'll also hear about Krishna's pastimes from the Guru's divine mouth. And so that is the stage of Shravan Dasha. That's Bhav Tattva. Bhav Tattva refers to Ekadash Bhav and Krishna Leela. So when one hears that from Sri Guru, that's Shravan Dasha. It's a stage of Shravan, hearing. And then gradually one will come to Varan Dasha. Varan Dasha is when you accept. First you've heard it, and now you fully accept it. You fully embrace it. Yes, these are my 11 moods. And, so upon hearing about the 8-fold pastimes of Radha Krishna, spiritual greed for that arises. Due to that greed, one inquires at the feet of the Guru, "O Mahashai, how can I attain these pastimes?" Gurudev then shows his mercy by describing Ekadash Bhav and how it applies to the principle of Lila. So how these 11 moods relate to the Lila, to the pastimes, the transcendental pastimes. Being pleased, the master will instruct one. He'll say, with this bhav, go and enter within these pastimes. With his perfected mood, with his siddha bhav, upon hearing about his pure form, one accepts that bhav into his own heart. He embraces that mood. So that's varandasha, fully accepting. Yes, okay, I am, this is my name. This is my dress. You fully accept it. First you hear it and then you accept it. So it's Shravandasha, then Varandasha. At the time of accepting that bhav, one should deliberate upon one's particular ruchi, one's particular taste or inclination, and inform one's guru with sincerity. And as we saw in Jaiva Dharma, maybe let's just read that section in Jaiva Dharma just to see an example of that. I have Jaiva Dharma open here. What would be a keyword? Let's see, Subal. Which chapter was that? Here. Let's see an example. So, okay, so Goswami, the sthai bhav. Okay, so the sthai bhav is the rati of the benevolent superior for the object of kindness. Okay, that's Vatsalya rati. Those are the different types of rati. So, Madhur Bhakti Ras has been called Mukhya Bhakti Ras. The conditioned jiva has taken shelter of mundane ras. But when his intelligence becomes dedicated to Ishvar, he naturally attains the path of detachment. Even then, he cannot be inclined for Madhuras until he becomes eligible for Chidras. Such people have no qualification for this ras. The very nature of Madhuras makes it difficult to understand, and the candidates for Madhuras are rarely found. This is the reason why this ras is extremely secret. Madhuras is naturally an extensive subject, but I will only give a brief summary now. And then Vrajanath says, Prabhu, I am a follower of Subal. I know that you will consider my eligibility to hear about Madhuras and instruct me appropriately. And then Goswami, the Priya Narmasakas are eligible for Shringaras to some extent. I will keep your qualification in mind and speak whatever is appropriate for you, and I'll say nothing unsuitable. Okay, whoops, that was not the section I was looking for, but that's still interesting, huh? um, this is it. This is what I was looking for. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so Raghunath Das Babaji, he says, my son, you should scrutinize your own swabhav, your own nature, your own mood and nature, your own nature. And then you will see the corresponding type of devotion for which you are qualified. A particular ruchi, a particular inclination towards Krishna, taste, a feeling for Krishna, and dasya, sakya, vatsalya, madhur. A particular ruchi will awaken according to your inherent swabhav. And you should pursue the ras that is indicated by that ruchi. In order to cultivate that ras, you should follow one of Krishna's eternal associates who is perfect in it. To determine ras, it is only necessary to examine your own ruchi. If your ruchi is toward the path of rag, then you should act according to that ruchi. And as long as inclination has not awakened for the path of rag, you should simply execute the principles of Vaidhi Bhakti with firm faith. Then Vijay Kumar says, Prabhu, I have been studying Srimad Bhagavatam for a long time, and I listen to Krishna Lila whenever and wherever I find the opportunity. Whenever I deliberate on Krishna Lila, a strong bhav arises within my heart to serve the divine couple as Lalita Devi does. Then Raghunath Das Babaji says, you need not say any more. You are a Manjari. You are a young maidservant of Lalita Devi. Which service do you like? Then Vijay says, I desire that Srimati Lalita Devi should grant me permission to string garlands of flowers. I shall string lovely garlands of beautiful, delicate flowers and place them in Lalita Sakhi's lotus hands. She will look upon me with an infinitely merciful, love-laden glance, and then she will place the garlands around the necks of Shishi, Radha, and Krishna. Then Raghunath Das Babaji says, I give you my blessings that you may attain perfection in the goal for which you are undertaking in your sadhana. When Vijay heard Babaji Mahashai's affectionate benediction, he fell at the lotus feet of his preceptor and wept. Seeing his emotional state, Babaji said, go on continually practicing Raganuga Sadhan Bhakti with this same feeling, and externally follow the conduct laid down according to the rules of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti in a regular way. Then when Vrajanath saw Vijay Kumar's spiritual wealth, he folded his hands and humbly said, my master, whenever I meditate on Sri Krishna's pastimes, a desire arises in my heart to serve him by following in the steps of Subal. Then Babaji says, what service do you like? Vrajanath, when the calves wander far off to graze, I would very much like to bring them back in the company of Subal. When Krishna sits in a place to play upon his flute, I will take the permission of Subal to let the cows drink water, and then I will bring them to Bhai, to brother Krishna. This is my heart's desire. Babaji, I give you the benediction that you will attain Krishna service as a follower of Subal. You are eligible to cultivate the sentiment of friendship, Sakya-ras. It is wonderful that from that day on, within Vijay Kumar's mind, the feeling began to sprout that he was a maidservant, a dasi of Srimati Lalita Devi, and he began to look upon Srila Babaji Maharaj as the personification of Sri Lalita Devi. Vijay, O Master, what more remains to be known about this subject? Please give your order. Then Babaji, nothing more remains. You need only know the name, form, dress, and so on of your Siddha Sharir, your perfected spiritual body. Come to me alone at another time, and I shall tell you all these things. Then Vijay Kumar offered Dandavat Pranam at the feet of his preceptor and replied, as my master pleases. From that day on, Vrajanath began to look upon Babaji as the personification of Subal. Babaji said to Vrajanath, you also come to me alone at another time, and I will tell you the name, form, dress, and ornaments of your spiritual body. Vrajanath offered Dandavat Pranam and said, as my master pleases. Vrajanath and Vijay Kumar acknowledged their great good fortune, and from that day on, they happily engaged in their spiritual practice of Raganuga Sadhan. Externally, everything remained as before, but their inner emotions had changed. Externally, Vijay Kumar behaved only as a man, but internally, he was imbued with the female nature, with a Stri Bhav, while within Vrajanath appeared the inherent Swabhav of a cowherd boy. The night, I love this paragraph. I'll just end with this paragraph here. The night was far advanced. Both of them returned home, chanting on their Japamala, the Maha Mantra that they had received from their preceptor. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It was midnight, and the lovely moonlight appeared like a shower of whitish silver upon the earth. An intoxicating breeze blew from the Malayan mountain, creating a very pleasant sensation for the mind. They sat down together beneath an umbala tree in a beautiful secluded place near Lakshman Tila and began a discussion. Vijay, Vrajanath, our heart's desire has been fulfilled. We shall certainly be blessed with Krishna's mercy by the grace of the Vaishnavas. Anyways, that's I'll end there reading that. All right. So at the time of accepting that bhav, one should deliberate upon one's particular ruchi, one's taste or inclination towards Shri Krishna, and inform one's guru with sincerity, just like we saw in the example of Vijay and Rajanath. O Prabhu, you have mercifully given me my identity, and I am fully satisfied with that. I have a natural inclination for this type of bhav, either in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhur Ras. Therefore, taking your instructions upon my head, I will be purified. If it is not one's ruchi, one should sincerely submit one's particular ruchi to the feet of Sri Guru. Guru will reflect upon it and give him another bhav. Then, if the one likes this, he can manifest his own bhav. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura gives an example of Shamananda. Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, the perfect ruchi of Mahatma Shamananda was unknown initially, which is why he was first introduced to Sakya Ras by his guru Hriday Chaitanya, who was in Sakya Ras. Later, by the mercy of Sri Jiva, he attained bhajan of his innate tendency, his swaruchi, and became famous for that in Madhur Ras. Okay. Thus, after guru and disciple have discussed this matter, from that moment on, the disciple's own siddha bhav is finally fixed. Jai is calling you at the door. You're being called at the door? Yeah. So the disciple should fall at the feet of the guru and pray to him, humbly begging for attaining perfection in his bhav. Then Gurudev will mercifully give instructions, and the disciple may enter that bhav. Then, falling at Sri Guru's feet, one should say, I accept your instructions concerning my bhav. I shall never abandon this bhav, whether in life or in death. It shall always remain with me. So this is Varandasha, right? When one fully embraces that bhav that was given by Sri Guru. All right. Sorry, one second. Observing one's perfected Ekadash bhav, one should meditate upon one's bhav with heartfelt determination. So this is now Smarandasha. After one has fully accepted, embraced that bhav that was given by Sri Guru, then one begins to engage in smaran, meditating upon the pastimes of, upon one's form and services, all those ekadash, bhavs, and also Krishna's pastimes and one's service in that. So while engaged in this smaran, there's one consideration which is beautiful. One should always meditate on that which is most suitable. If one performs smaran upon those things which are unsuitable, perfection will never be achieved, even if one practices for many yugas. And now, Apanadasha. Is this where we read up to last time? I actually can't remember. I could look up in the YouTube video. I have a feeling that we read, let me just look up on YouTube. 1 second. My channel. Just looking from yesterday. Sorry, guys, I started really late today. Just finding where we left off yesterday. Okay. Just seeing it. Did I read? And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, at this stage, sadhan siddhas and nitya siddhas both attain salokya, attainment of the same spiritual abode. So really there's no jiva shuddha sattva hoye. Okay. So we did get past this. Okay, sorry. As you can tell, these programs were fully learning everything together. I'm sure many of you know more than I do on all these things. But where are we? Okay. Okay, so As one strictly engages in one sadhan and performs smaran, one will attain the most pure stage of apana dasha. By constantly meditating, and that's when one like achieves that thing, right? I think if I mean, I could totally be wrong, but from what I thought yesterday after reading was that apana dasha is when one now starts to see one's um that's like what do you say? Like one begins to see one's spiritual form and stuff like that, one's siddha swarup. So then one will attain the most pure stage of apandasha, that's achieving your siddha swarup and everything like that. Just the stage right before vastu siddhi, when one sheds the material body and the subtle body, and one takes birth from the womb of the gopi. This is just before that, apandasha, or one achieves one's siddha sharir. By constantly meditating upon one's pure bhav, the mundane conceptions that bind one will soon flee far away. The jiva who is bound by matter forgets his own state of perfection. Mentally identifying with matter, he becomes engrossed in the material body. At this stage, if one hears Krishna Lila, a desire emerges to achieve the wealth of one's perfected state. Then one constantly meditates upon bhav tattva, the nature of one's bhav. I remember it mentioned bhav tattva is the Ekadash bhav and Krishna's Lila, right? That's what it mentioned before. And as that bhav increases, one's misconceptions vanish. And then there's this section is called the stage of Smaran Dasha, the difference between Vaidha and Raganuga Bhav, the necessity for the latter. There are two types of Smaran, Vaidha and Raganuga. Meditation at the stage of Raganuga is beyond the injunction of Shastra. Smaran stemming from attraction to Madhurya Ras, quickly leads one to attain the state of Bhav Apana, attaining one's Bhav. When one attains one's bhav, that's apana dasha. That means attainment. At the time, and then the gradual process of the devotee following the path of Vaidha. At the time of Smaran, the devotee following the path of Vaidha, rules and regulations, always considers what is favorable according to the injunctions of Shastra. Upon attaining bhav, at the time when his bhav appears, he abandons the injunctions of Shastra, knowing them to be a disturbance. One gradually progresses from Shraddha to Nishta to Ruchi and Asakti to Bhav. At the time of attaining one's identity, that Bhav manifests. And then this section is at the stage of Apandasha. There's no difference between those devotees following the path of Raganuga and those following Vaidha. The Veda Smriti declares that upon achieving Bhav, there is no longer any difference between the Raganuga and Vaidha devotees. I want to hear more of an explanation on this whole topic, though. Because on the path of Vaidha or Vaidhi, that's not the path for attaining Vrajbhav, right? And so is that for those who are following, like, does that mean that somebody will attain something else like Ayodhya or maybe Dwarka or Vaikuntha or something like that? That's my question here. Yeah, anyways. It's in the what is it? The Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada made uh like a logo. Oops. Yeah, he made a logo and it has like on one side it has Vaidhi Marg and the other side it has Raganuga Marg. And then it has Lakshmi Narayan and then it has Radha Krishna. And so anyways, that's what I'm wondering. Okay. So now Panchavidha Smaran, the 5 types of remembrance. Okay, so remember, we're at the stage of Smaran Dasha. What were the stages? There's Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, then Samadhi Dasha, and then Apan Dasha. But then I guess in the Apan Dasha, once you've attained your Siddha Sharir and everything, you're fully, then there are 5 types of remembrance, are Smaran, Dharana, Dhyan, Anusmriti and Samadhi, which is the same terms as Ashtanga and Ashtanga Yoga, which I know Raseshwari Mataji knows very well. I'm not so familiar, but those same terms are also in this Bhav Sadhan. So there's remembrance, then dharana is steadfast remembrance, then dhyan meditation, and anusmriti constant remembrance, and then samadhi total absorption, where there's completely zero awareness of this external world at all. At the time of remembrance of one's swarup, at the time when one's remembrance of one's swarup becomes samadhi, then the attainment of the stage of bhav arises. So that's apandasha, I think. That's bhavapan, when one enters into samadhi. So there's the stages of shravandasha, which goes all the way up to samadhi, and at that point, one has gotten to the stage of apanadasha, the achievement of one's siddha sharir. One's state of being at that time when one identifies with his siddha deha, they're in samadhi, and they identify with their siddha deha, they no longer have any awareness of this external world or their external body or anything, then one will completely conquer the influence of the material body. Then at every moment, one resides in Vraj in one's Swarup. At the stage of attaining one's Bhav, one sees the forests of Vraj in one's eternal form, in one's own eternal form. Then at Apandasha, one attains Swarup Siddhi. And the stage of Vastu Siddhi, one's subtle body is eradicated. And at the stage of Vastu Siddhi, one's subtle body is eradicated. Then during Apanadasha, one who is fortunate attains Swarup Siddhi. At the time when the subtle body is eradicated, one attains Vastu Siddhi, which is the wealth of Sampati Dasha, the stage of full possession. Those who have achieved Sadhan Siddhi, perfection through the process of Sadhan, are equal to those who are Nitya Siddha, eternally perfect, since they both serve Krishna night and day. So those who have never been to this material world, who are Nitya Siddha, they've eternally been in the spiritual world, and those who have performed sadhan and then finally attained perfection, there's no difference between them anymore, because they're both those who, because they're both doing the same thing, serving Krishna in their spiritual form. One's service to Radha Krishna is never again disturbed. And absorbed in the highest Ujjvala Ras, one is in a constant state of divine madness. The name is one's greatest treasure. Thus, one should take refuge in the holy name. Upon achieving perfection through the name, the jiva becomes situated on the plane of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. And I think that's where we read up to yesterday. So there's just a little bit left in this chapter, and we'll finish reading today. Attaye Sangshepe Krama Parichaya, the process in brief. Attayeva Bhakti-unmukha Jana Sadhu Sange Nirjane Koribe Nam Kramer Abhange. Therefore, a person inclined towards bhakti in the association of sadhus will take up chanting the holy name in seclusion, without excluding anything in the process. Krame krame alpakale sarvasiddhi hoy, kusanga varjiya sadhu sange phalodoy. Within a short time, by gradually following the process, he will attain all perfection. If he rejects bad association and keeps company with sadhus, results will appear. And then Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, for one who abandons karma, jnana, yoga, etc., and has bhakti which arises from exclusive shraddha, the wealth of nam bhajan is easily attained. Engaging in nam bhajan through the method previously described is much easier in comparison to any of the other limbs of bhakti, and within a short time, one will attain all perfection. The only expertise necessary is this: completely rejecting bad association and engaging in bhajan in the company of sadhus. Prem is specifically like a supreme, pure, transcendental blade It can enter the heart of a sadhu because he is qualified and inclined. Why is it referring to prem as a blade? Interesting. Let's see. It is repelled by the heart of one who is not a sadhu. So that transcendental prem is repelled by a heart of one who is not a sadhu. That blade cannot easily enter the heart of a jiva who does not keep the association of sadhus. Sadhus and non-sadhus can be compared to good and bad conductors of electricity. In other words, electricity specifically has a material nature, mayik dharma. Prem has a transcendental nature, chid dharma. Similar characteristics are seen in both. Interesting. Okay, now this section is sadhu sangha, that's number 1. 2, su nirjan, and 3, drida bhav. That means 1, association of sadhus, 2, conducive seclusion, and 3, mood of determination. And why does it say su nirjan, not just nirjan? Because su nirjan, real seclusion, means to be in the company of sadhus and to reject the association of anybody who's not a sadhu, like-minded sadhu. Sadhu sanga nirjana nija dridha bhav, etin bole labi mahima swabhav. Association of sadhus, conducive seclusion, and one's mood of determination. One achieves natural glory based upon the strength of these 3. And Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says, thus, one who desires to achieve the result of Nam Sadhan must definitely have an eagerness for these 3 things. In other words, he must associate with sadhus, stay in conducive seclusion, and have a firm mood of strong aspiration. This is known as perseverance. Amihin Shudra Mati Vishaye Vibhor Sadhu Sangha Vivarjita Sada Atmachor. I am fallen, petty-minded, and engrossed in mundane things. I neglect the association of sadhus, and thus I have robbed my very self. Now, this is Haridas Thakur speaking. This isn't the example of a sadhu. This is Haridas Thakur's, he's himself saying this to Mahaprabhu. Oh, Mahaprabhu, I'm fallen, petty-minded, and engrossed in mundane things. I neglected the association of sadhus, and thus I've robbed my very self. Then Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, although Sri Haridas Thakur is a Nitya Siddha Parashad, he is an eternally perfected associate of the Supreme Lord. He is displaying his natural humility. Such humility is an ornament of prem. Ahoitu ki kripa kabu koriya vistar bhakti rase gati deha prarthana amar. If you ever expand your causeless mercy, then my prayer is that I may be allowed to enter into bhakti ras. And Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ahoituki kripa means mercy without any cause. I have performed no pious activities that can lead to obtaining Krishna's mercy. At this point, if Krishna is merciful, it will be causeless. Then Srila Haridas Thakur is famous for his exclusive teachings on Nam Bhajan, but he is also the supreme recipient of Sriman Mahaprabhu's mercy. He is specifically an authority on the teachings of Nam Ras Tattva, the nature of Nam Ras. When Mahaprabhu was relishing the books Lalita Madhav and Vidagdha Madhav in Haridas's courtyard, along with Ramananda, Sarvabhauma, etc., then the glories of Nam Ras suddenly came from the mouth of Haridas. That's see Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila chapter 1. Eto boli Haridas preme achetan Shri Gauranga pore kore deha samarpan. Saying this, Haridas became unconscious with prem and offered his body at the feet of Shri Gauranga. Preme Gada Prabhu, Preme Gada Prabhu, Tahara Utai, Alingana Diya Chitta, Katha Boletai. With a voice choked with prem, the Lord picked him up, embraced him, and spoke these words from his heart. Prabhur Agya, the Lord's instruction. Shuno Haridasa e lila sangopane, Vishwa andakar koribek dushta jane. Mahaprabhu said, listen, Haridas, when this lila of mine becomes hidden, evil people will create darkness in the world. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, who are these evil people? It would seem that all those persons who later concealed the teachings of pure Nam Dharma that Sri Mahaprabhu gave in his Shikshashtak and preached other wicked beliefs such as the Sahajas, the Bauls, etc. The Lord is referring to them. Is right, the 13 Sampradayas, and now there's even more. Prime Gurudev counted like 34 or something like that, and now there's even way more. So Mahaprabhu was saying, when this Leela of mine becomes hidden, evil people, all these Sampradayas will create this darkness in the world. She kale tomar e charamopadesh, avashishta sadhu jane, bhuji be vishesh. At that time, these supreme instructions of yours will be properly understood by those sadhus that still remain. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Charam Upadesh means no other instruction can be superior to this. The supreme instruction is that one should cultivate the name in the association of sadhus. E tattva namashaye nishkinchana jan, nirjane boshya Krishna koribhe bhajan. That person who is niskinchan, who possesses nothing, whose only wealth is Krishna, who takes refuge in this process and the name, that person will sit in a secluded place and engage in bhajan of Krishna. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, a niskinchan rasik bhakta, a devotee who has no possessions and relishes the name, will relish the name Hare Krishna in the following manner. Thus, in the 183rd section of Padakalpataru, there is the song entitled Ardha Bahya Dasha Pralapam, words spoken in the state of half consciousness. Oh, but I see it is 8 o'clock. And this song, my God, it was so high. I'm like hesitant to read it again, but we will read it. But I think I'll end here because I want to be, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So we will, and I'm gonna also today I'll do some homework. I'm gonna try to find out how to sing Suhai Raga. So that let's see if we could sing it in the proper rag. That would be neat. And also maybe tomorrow, because we're at the end of the chapter. It's just that song and then it's finished. So like we could probably finish it up in just like 5 or 10 minutes. But maybe what we can do tomorrow is read the end of Jaiva Dharma, which let's see, I think it's chapter 40. Just looking really quickly. Let's see, chapter 40 is entering into Leela and then the supreme wealth. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes into what we read about today in this chapter. First, he explains these different stages. Vijay pondered deeply, hearing about Vraja Leela, a greed has now awakened in my heart for that Leela, and thus I will gradually attain the stage of complete success, Sampati Dasha. He therefore concluded that he must first know about the nature of this gradual development. Thinking thus, he approached Sri Guru Goswami and humbly inquired, Prabhu, I need to know the various stages that a bhakta undergoes, beginning from the stage of hearing to the stage of Sampati Dasha. And so then Goswami, Gopal Guru Goswami says, together there are 5 stages. There's the Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, Smaran Dasha, and Bhavapana Dasha, and then Prem Sampati Dasha. And so then kindly explain Shravan Dasha. Yeah, so we'll hear the same explanation that we read today, but from Jaiva Dharma, and then becomes even we can become even more clear. And maybe it'd be nice also to go through the definitions of all this different terminology. What is Raganuga Sadhan? What is Vaidhi? What is all those things? This so that because we've been using these terms all over the place, but it's important to actually know the specific meaning, not just like a one-word meaning in brackets, but what was Srila Rupa Goswami's definition. So maybe we can do that also tomorrow. And so So then, okay, today's not our last reading of Harināma-cintāmaṇi, tomorrow will be. And then the day after tomorrow, I think Srivas Thakur's appearance day is coming up, or disappearance day, I can't remember which one. And then we'll start our next book. I was thinking Bhakti Tattva Vivek, but I don't know. I'm going to think about different things that we could read, and then maybe I'll make a poll and everybody can choose. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Saccidānanda Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swaparsha Ji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrindadevi Ki Jai, Shri Harināma-cintāmaṇi ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Saccidānanda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai. Jai Shri Harināma-cintāmaṇi ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Ṭhākura ki Jai. Jai Shri Saccidānanda Gaur Hari ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Prabhu ki Jai. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadeli Satyavataya Namo Namaha. Pancha kalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranams, Sarveshwari Mataji, Ashray Tattva Prabhu, Yashoda Didi, Nitai Mukesh ji, and Raseshwari Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Hari Priya Didi, and I'm guessing Indira Mataji is there. I don't know, there's a few other devotees there. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. But also pranams to all the devotees watching in the future. Oh, Damodar just wrote me a message asking if I could share the PDF. All right, so if anybody wants, I've been reading this translation I've been reading is by, I think his name is Bhaktivinoda Giri Maharaj. And you can find it on bhaktivinodainstitute.org. bhaktivinodainstitute.org. And on the website, you'll see books, and then you'll find this translation that we're reading there. All right. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end today's program?
Yeah, yes, I had one. There's a beautiful description some time back about sadhu, the definition of sadhu and non-sadhu. And what it said, you were just reading it just a little short while ago. It said that sadhu is a good conductor of current. The current, I guess, was the current of bhakti. Non-sadhu is not a good conductor. So it made me to reflect also on in Hatha Yoga and Ayurveda, they talk about the flow of prana through the body, and that all disease is a product of obstructed flow of prana to some area of the body. It then just leads to like a lack of consciousness, lack of awareness, which allows the breeding of dysfunction. So that by contrast, the bhakti is like the ultimate current. It's like what they're referring to, like the ultimate current that flows so naturally. But in this world, there's so many obstacles to the flow of it. So a sadhu is one who allows the current to flow very strongly. It's a good conductor of the current. I thought that was a very exciting definition.
It makes so much sense, because bhakti isn't something that we make happen. Like you can't produce electricity like yourself. It has to come from somewhere. And
Yeah.
so it really shows that this is not, we're not on the aroha path, like the ascending path. It's not like I'm gonna make my Ekadash Pavs appear. It's because I'm gonna do this sadhana and that sadhana and that sadhana. But we have to become recipients, of mercy. And then if we're completely just a fully open recipient, like to completely open ourselves to the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, then they can let that electricity come through us, that they can transmit that bhakti into us. But otherwise, that there will be, that example will be an asadu. Will block the current from entering into us.
If we follow the directions of Guru and Krishna, we become fitting conductors as well. They can use us as an instrument of conduction.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Lovely. It's such a wonderful point. That's why we're followers of the Avaroha Panta. We depend on mercy from above, and we open ourselves to that mercy to lift us up. We don't depend on our own effort, solely on our own effort. Of course, we have to make an effort to open ourselves for that mercy, but we're 100% dependent on that mercy. Okay. Thank you. And Hare Krishna, Paul Chandler. Haribol. All right. Okay, any more comments or all right. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow to read the last chapter of Jayabhadharma, maybe portions of the last chapter of Jayabhadharma, and also this last song. Very high song. I'm like, as I said, I'm a bit like hesitant to read it because it's like Geet Govinda level. I've never read Geet Govinda because it's too high, and this is kind of like that level. But anyhow, we'll have to pray for mercy that we can not that we read it respectfully without misinterpreting anything, and that we just the understanding that this is the ultimate goal. And yeah, Jai. All right, thank you. See you all tomorrow.